Sorry, I did the shitty count again.
No, you're fine.
My
Wait,
bad.
oh, but you are recording though, right? Because I pressed it.
I am recording.
Okay,
yeah.
cool. All right,
Yeah.
yeah. Just making sure.
Do you think that after almost 2 years of doing this that we would know what to do, and yet
No,
here we are?
I would not think that. I would not suffer under any such delusions, Elaine, actually.
That's true. That's true. I know that.
Yeah. But since you do mention that we're coming up on 2 years, it's getting close to the Halloween season again. And I didn't do Hooptober last year, but I did see that the list dropped for this year.
Started, yes. You kind of like you had earnestness in the beginning that you were going to do it.
I got like 5 or 6
you
movies.
had good intentions.
Okay, like yeah.
You know what? And only like 4 of those were from the podcast, so it's fine.
True, yeah.
So the new list drops tonight. So like the criteria for the list drops this evening. So it'll be out by the time this episode drops. But yeah, I'm excited for it. I do this thing where if a movie seems like a horror movie seems like one that like I'd like to save for Hooptober, that it might have like a movie I come across that might have like good criteria or like sounds interesting or like hidden gem kind of stuff. I save it on a list. So I already have like 100 movies almost on like a horror list for this year. So
100?
it'll be, which I haven't watched 100. I did watch 100 for 2 years in a row during COVID, but then I couldn't keep that pace up. But I'm looking forward to this year. I really want to lock in and watch some more. Since I'm having surgery, my hope is that I'll be able to watch a lot of movies in the late fall. Because I won't be able to fucking do anything else.
Is that
Is
that the foot thing? I don't know if this has been discussed on the pod yet.
Oh, yes, the foot thing. Yeah, did I tell you this off or on pod?
You've told me about the
I knew we
issue. I
talked
didn't know
about
that
it,
you were
but-
getting surgery for it. You might have told me that, but I don't know. I don't quite remember if you did.
That's okay. It's all right. I can only do one leg at a time, but I'm going to they're basically going to carve out the bone, like the extra bone in my like the top of my foot, and then they will slice my Achilles to lengthen it so it can heal stretched out basically.
Wow.
So, and then I'll do that, and then 6 months from now, maybe if all goes well, I'll do the other leg. So it's going to be intense. Yeah. No Zumba for like at least 6 weeks, which fucking sucks.
Zumba's also going to be weird for you afterwards. You're going to have to like, because it's all like foot stuff. Pause, like
it is. Yeah. No. No, I've thought about that too. Like I need to ask them. I have my pre-op in late September, early October, I think. And so I need to ask them, like, when can I exercise? Like, can I exercise in a limited capacity? Like, because I don't want to lose all that, Like, obviously, I know I'm going to lose muscle mass and stuff, but, like, can I do anything, while I'm healing, like, while I'm in a boot or in a cast? Like, obviously not a cast, like, when I'm fresh, but, like, when I've got, like, the little brace and stuff, like, what am I allowed to do? Because if they're going to be like, oh, you can walk on the treadmill, or, like, you can do, like, low, I'm going to be fucking wanting to kill myself, which is probably what's going to happen, but.
Yeah, because Zumba, just with, like, any twist, right? Like, anywhere where you're positioning your foot, and a lot of it is, like shifting your weight from like one foot to the other. I mean, if you haven't had surgery on it, not like mission critical, right? If you're just like not exactly perfectly aligned. But I feel like it is far more mission critical if you just had surgery. So I'd watch out.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm definitely, if I were to do something, like if I were to go back before being fully healed and like cleared for exercise or whatever, I would definitely take it easy either way. But what's really going to be weird is even when I am fully healed, like it's going to be weird to be balanced on one leg differently than the other. Like to have like the tightness still there in one leg, because right now, like my legs are unbearably tight all the time. So like,
are they not doing it like back to back? Like I know you said like one at a time. I thought they were like doing left, and then like as soon as you're healed, they're grabbing right. Like,
see, that's what I thought they were going to do. Because originally I was like, I'm just going to do both and be in a wheelchair
just
for
be
like
done
6
with
weeks
it.
and just be done. But they said that because of the physical therapy that you have to do and the heal time, they want to make sure that you're healing one correctly before they start the other. And so they won't even, I was like, oh, so like 6 weeks, right? Like, November to Christmas,
out.
Christmas to
but they
to
wouldn't.
birthday,
Would they like
done.
not commit or?
Yeah, well, he was like, you need to wait like at least 3 to maybe 6 months until you do the other
shit.
one. Yeah, so
wow.
Yeah, so probably like May. Yeah, like April, May.
Okay, yeah. I kind of get it. So because like but it's since you're already so used to like I don't want to say the old leg, but like when you're fixing it and like you've got the new leg, right? Like you have to wait till that new leg can like fully like support and sustain
support the other one.
Yeah, by itself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which I guess makes sense, but still, wow, that's tough.
It's gonna be crazy. Yeah, it's gonna be nuts. I don't know what it's gonna be like, but like I can't even I can't do a full squat the way that I like. My legs are just my feet, the balls of my feet, paws, like are so tight that like my heels don't touch the ground if I squat. Like I physically am incapable.
Yeah, you just have
and
super
so like
tight balls.
I can't even. Balls. Yeah, I do. Yeah, they are in need of relief, man. So it's gonna be great. I mean, I have dealt with this pain my whole life, even though I haven't always realized it. So it's gonna be very life changing. It'll be crazy. Yeah. So
that'll be awesome.
Anyway, so I'll have lots of time to watch movies. Oscar season is gonna be like nothing. Like I'll have such an easy time. Winter, like cooped up, not able to fucking even go to the gym. Like great.
I mean, you're also gonna be inside all of spooky season. The perfect time for playing a video game that August enjoys, Dead by Daylight.
Yeah, you wanted to talk about.
I wanted to talk about this, so I'm shoehorning it in as fucking clumsily as possible.
That's fine.
Yeah. So. I was talking to it was so funny because I was literally talking to my friend Pete about this the day before I had this conversation with August. Shout out Pete. We were talking about the game, and I had tried it before, and I'm very open about this, that like I really did not like the game to begin with. I kind of hated it because I was like, oh, this game is super unbalanced, and it's just tag, right? It's just tag with like characters that like people know and love, right? And I was talking to Pete about it, and he was like, all right, so like, how do you think the game is balanced? I was like, oh, like it's super Survivor side balanced because like they have so many ways to escape and like rescue their teammates and like achieve their objective to get around the killer, right? When the killer has to like, you have to kill them multiple times and like hang them up. There's like, I don't care, you have to hang them on like the meat hook, like from fucking Chainsaw Massacre, right?
Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah, but like their teammates can get them down and then like they can do like random shit and get away, yada yada. It's like, all right, but the game's not balanced around that, right? It's not like the elo system is not like, oh, survivors win, they get plus 50. Like, the killer lost, he gets minus 25. Because it's asynchronous gameplay. It's supposed to, like, mimic a, like, single-player game, right? When you're a survivor, you're supposed to be, like, it's like Left 4 Dead, essentially, right? Where you're like, oh, like, we're against, like an enemy killer or killers, and, like, I have teammates, and they're doing other stuff. Maybe they can res me, I have to res them sometimes, yada yada. Which makes it's super super interesting how like that, like, because both sides are very asynchronous and they have different like win conditions in huge quotes, right? Where it's like, oh, the killer's big win condition is to kill everyone, and that the survivor's big win condition is to anyone escapes, right? But really, the way that they like set up the rank system and like how they reward you and the points that they give you are based off of like the killer like chasing, right? And like how many chases are you involved in? Like, how many times are you, like, catching people? And, like, for the survivors, they also have that where, like, oh, how many chases are you getting in? And there are some survivors that are, like, suited to, like, just completing the objective. So, like, you don't really want to be the ones that are, like, trying to, like, run and help. And so, like, for the survivor side, it's like, oh, like, maybe, like, if this guy has been down twice, maybe it's worthwhile for me to just, like, stand in front of him and stop the killer because I know that they have, like, something that can, like, get at them, right? And there's, like, much more... Like, there's a lot more depth of gameplay than what I originally saw, and because there are so many different abilities and stuff, and they interact specifically to, like, help you, like, recreate, like, iconic Hollywood chase scene, right? Like, that's, like, what you're trying to do. This is, like,
yeah, sure.
Right, and it's like, it like, I don't know, it's so interesting how they drive the, like, player economy towards, like, oh, like, without directly telling you, like, hey, this is what you're supposed to be doing, they're saying, like, oh, like, you get incentivized to do it in other ways, which, I don't know, is super cool and interesting, but also can lead to people being like, oh, especially, like, when you're first looking at the game, like, oh, it's just tag, and, like, there's a bunch of bullshit involved, like, why would I care about this?
Yeah, right.
Which I was very much so on board for. As soon as I saw it, I was like, dude, like, I can't, and, like playing from both sides, I was like, if you're on the survivor side and the killer's super good, it's like, well, fuck, man, like we have nothing that we can do. But if they're really bad, it's like I don't even feel like I'm playing a game. Like I'm just like the objective is like not that engaging. Yeah, without like having a killer like the presence of like, oh, like maybe I'm gonna die, right? So it's like there is like a fine middle ground, which I think is super interesting. To try to like rank players so that they're playing like they all have the same understanding in the game of like what objectives they're trying to accomplish. So yeah,
I hear what you mean. Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like that's easier to establish in other games, right? Especially PvP games. It's like, defeat these guys, right? And that's very, very straightforward. Right. Or like single player, or like co-op games where it's like PvE. It's like, oh, like maybe complete objectives, watch out for the environment. But like making that environment a single evil character and like, I don't know, it's super interesting to me. Yeah. Even though I don't really want to play the game.
Asynchronous aspect like you're talking about keeps it very different. Like I'm trying to think of other games that have that like win condition differential to that degree, you know?
No, it's tough. There's a couple that have played around with it. There was like one like puppet game I remember playing with my friends where like there's like a puppet master and like the puppets all like turn evil and but they have like abilities. But the puppet master is like a normal sized human and like you're trying to like capture them from like your house. And like it feels very tough to balance because like either the catcher is like super strong and like you like it's your abilities are like I don't know. Either the abilities that the runners have or the chased have are like super good or they're not, right? Like it's finding that balance between the two where it feels engaging and it feels like either side could win in any game. It's tough to work out, you know?
Yeah. There was a just because this is the one asynchronous kind of game really, or like, well,
there's a lot of Mario Party games that have it too. Like where they're like
I was gonna say well, and you're gonna laugh out loud at me, but the Wii U really made that possible.
Yeah.
Like, because of the screen.
I would laugh out loud at you normally. I would ridicule you for bringing up the Wii U, but I feel like it has its place here for sure.
But in this case specifically, there's and like the kind of spin-offs of like I'm thinking of like Nintendo Land, which was the kind of pack-in game for the Wii U. That has some fun asynchronous games, multiplayer games. Obviously Mario Party has been doing it that way forever. But one that kind of came to mind, it's not, I think there is a multiplayer, but I've never done it. But Zombie U, which was a remake of Zombie, which was a zombie game that was on the Wii U. And that has, kind of like an asynchronous, like, it's not like it's a single player game, but, you have to, like, your objectives can be different, obviously, depending on the type of character you're playing, but then you have to look at the gamepad to see the map or your inventory, whereas, like, your player's view is on the TV screen. So, like, you have to look away if you're being attacked by zombies to, like, fuck with your... Like, it just adds kind of, like, a cool element to it.
Yeah.
That, is present in all of those types of games where it's like, well, someone's looking at something different than you, a completely different like view.
Yeah.
And I feel like they do have an online, I feel like they have an online version as well, but
those games like those are tough to implement online just because like,
yeah.
One game that I think does really well with it is Screen Sheet. I don't know if you've played that before.
No, I haven't.
All characters are invisible, but it's like a battle royale and you have guns. Every character is invisible, but you can see everyone's screen, right? Like, especially if you're playing, like, off of one screen, you can see everybody's screen.
Okay.
So you have to figure out where people are and shoot them based off of that.
Based on,
it's so
that's
good.
Fun. That's a cool idea.
It's so much fun. And, like, knowing where you are and, like walking around looking right at the ground and, like I don't know, trying to figure out, like, it gets to the point. So Zach, Tori, and I, during COVID, got really good at that game. And we played the fuck out of it. And, like, to the point where we would walk around looking at the ground up until, like, we were like, I know where they are. And we like flick. Because my
Ricky
headset
just lost his microphone.
I flicked my head up and my headset came flying off because
too animated.
Yeah, but like you like flick your mouse up to aim and fire like that.
Let me. Can I stake a claim here? Can I have a hot take?
Yeah.
I don't think looking at someone else's screen in Mario Kart counts as cheating. I don't think that's cheating. I think like if you're looking at like someone else's like on co-op, local co-op, I don't think that's cheating.
I'm wrangling Archie.
Like he had to go, fuck with his cats. Stand by.
Okay, sorry. I am fucking with my cats, and that might happen once or twice this episode, but Archie's really in a mood, and he's really messing with my carpet. So...
Archie wants to fuck. Archie wants to go fuck Georgie.
Well, maybe. I think he wants to get fucked by... No.
Maybe, yeah.
He's
Georgie's
a little subby.
Yeah.
Archie is like, actually, like, I don't know. He's so silly, because he's just a little
Sub
weirdo.
is not the same as bottom. Just to make that clear.
Oh, that's true. No, you are right. You are right. But he's both.
Archie is a sub-bottom.
Yeah, he's a subby little bottom. Oh, fuck. What were we talking about right before this?
Mario Kart and looking at people's screens. Anyway, let's talk about the podcast. Let's talk about what podcast is.
I will say, though, I get where people get annoyed from it, in terms of, like...
They should get good.
Once you get into like item bagging and stuff, and it's like people like talking about like screen cheating and item bagging, it's like, all right, but once you're at that level of like play, I don't know. I think it's already annoying. Like the conversation is already annoying. Like you're playing Mario Kart way too seriously.
True.
Like this is already annoying
That's
me.
True.
Like so like for me personally, I don't give a fuck. Like because it doesn't. Yeah. It doesn't matter. Like
it's not going to stop me. I'm still going to use my fucking banana peel on you.
Yeah, like bro, like come on, what's the difference?
Go ahead, look.
Yeah. Red Shell's still going to hit you. Good luck, buddy.
Yeah. This is We Want to Watch. That's Ricky. My name is Lane. This is a podcast about movies that we want to watch. Is that it? Did I say it all? I actually kind of like blacked out there while I was rubbing my eyes. Do you ever rub your eyes and like stop thinking?
Yeah. I clock in at work and I just start rubbing my eyes. Like 8 hours. Yeah, you know? Just like, I do the severance thing, and then like afterwards I'm like, whoa, that was crazy, man.
I like vaguely know that there's a thing with Severance where people like clone themselves or something. I've never seen that show. I just know from the memes. That's another one of those shows that people are like, this is one of the best shows of all time.
Yeah, like, they really slobber all over its fucking knocker. Like,
yeah. It's knocker.
Yeah.
It's one knocker.
Yeah. That's all they slobber it over. Yeah, but it
oh my god.
It is one of those shows that's like, it's like prestige TV, and like I don't know. So just from the memes and from the title, it's the people have severed themselves, their outer world self, from their the
right.
self that they have at work.
Idea.
That's it.
But it's also a play on severance packages.
Yes.
Like, I get that.
Yeah. And it's like, all right, cool.
Sure.
But that's like the most like mind bending. Oh, but it's so cool. And then, like as you watch the show, you get to figure that out. It's like, yeah, I kind of got that off the title, man. Like I'm not that engaged in it, I guess.
I don't know. I hear people talk about it from like a Marxist or like socialist workers' rights perspective, which is cool, I guess, that's like in the popular consciousness.
There is no true critique of capitalism within capitalism that is not like just blatantly endorsing it, right? Well, annoying, but like it's always from within a capitalist like mindset, right? Or like structure. So you're not really critiquing capitalism. You're just looking at it different. Like it's a different form of anti-capitalism, right? One that's endorsed by capitalism and like supporting it, right? It's fucking like Squid Game season 3. Like, bro, like actually. Like, shoot my fucking... No, I'm not gonna say that. But, like no, it's actually crazy, man. I don't know.
Actually, put one in the chamber, and let's spin it, and let's see what happens. It's funny you bring that up about, like... What an insane fucking way to start this conversation. Wow, we hit all our greatest hits today. You know what, before this too, watchers... Before this, we talked about being pissed off about AI for 30 minutes before we even pressed record.
We were not trying to. It was one of those, like, trying to get in the mood to start recording, and then, like, it was just back and forth.
Catching up.
Like, each of us had more shit to talk.
It's just like, you know what pisses me off?
Yeah. It really grinds my fucking gears.
No, okay, for real, though. You mentioning you can't critique capitalism within capitalist art. Kind of ties into the thing that I think I told you this anecdote like a year ago, and I feel like every time we talk about war movies now, you bring it up, which I love, which is that, you know, you can't make a non-glorified, war movie. So we'll talk about that with this movie, which was a Lane's frame. We haven't used this terminology in a while. We're returning to the Lane's frames and Rick's picks. But The Deer Hunter from 1978, directed by Michael Cimino, was this week's Lane's Frame. So I do want to get you on the record real quick. Whoa, my levels are crazy. Oh, this is going to be a fun edit. I just want to read exactly what you messaged me yesterday.
Dude, yeah. I wanted to bring this up as well. Like the exact timing of it too.
Yeah. Because I asked, are you good for 3:30? And I said, but if no, we can record tomorrow. And you said, I can record, but I'd kind of like to sit on this movie. What the fuck, Lane? Warn me when you're dropping bangers. Save it for the pod.
So I do want to say that I messaged you at 2:26, right? And I think I had like 45 minutes left or something on the movie, right? I was like, hey, like I take it back because earlier I said, hey, let's do 3 instead of 3:30. I was like, hey, can I take it? I take that back. Can we do 3:30?
Can we do 3:30?
Netflix is killing me with ads. The last fucking half hour, like, I feel like just off of reading you reading me going like, oh, he's not ready yet. I feel like you should have just been like, you're not fucking, like, we're not talking about this goddamn movie.
You're not gonna be ready
like,
today.
You're not doing this fucking shit. Because this is like,
I didn't want to assume, but
it would be like me watching Brokeback Mountain like the like morning before we record. Like it's just not like it's just not gonna happen.
It's not right. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I was trying to figure out how to like phrase that as well because like I was sitting there and like the movie had like
you're like damn.
The movie had like just had ended maybe 5 minutes beforehand, and I was like, I checked the time. I was like, fuck it, 3:30. I was like, Lane messaged me. Fuck. I was like I can record if you want. I really kind of don't want it. I just want to sit on it.
So you really liked it?
I did. Can I also mention it was very, maybe not serendipitous, but super coincidental that you picked this movie out of. So you picked this movie out of 3 that I know you were looking at. 3 war movies. I kind of did the like, you know, the trick of like, say the 2, if you can't decide, say 2 options and like to assign one to heads and tails and flip a coin and then you'll know which one. Yeah. The minute that I asked you, I was like, fuck, I don't care what Ricky says. We're watching The Deer Hunter anyway. Wait, but this was the Vietnam movie. Yeah. So like, I mean,
no, this was the after Vietnam movie. No, the other one.
Was that not what I
do you want to know what the?
Yeah. Well, what was the other one?
No,
I don't know.
Because I offered you World War II, Vietnam, or post-Vietnam, and this was the post-Vietnam. Now, this actually takes place before, during, and after Vietnam, which I didn't know based on the bio or the description. Yeah. But you did pick like Vietnam, not post-Vietnam. So I kind of shoehorned you into this, but it worked out in the end. I was going to pick Apocalypse Now was the other one.
Oh, interesting. So, okay, yeah.
But we'll watch that someday. But yeah. So why is it serendipitous about this one?
I watch The Simpsons before I go to bed pretty often. A lot of times I'll just throw it on when I'm like brush my teeth, like getting ready for bed, yada yada.
Yeah.
They had a Deer Hunter bit, on The Simpsons. Would you like me to send it to you? It's a funny clip.
I'll watch it. Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Is it like funny audio only? Because I'll put it in the episode.
No, it's because it's just a visual gag.
Okay. I'll make it the podcast cover art, maybe. The idea of making any bits out of this movie is crazy, but I guess you already have done that, so... Yeah.
I feel like we did that within the first, 5 minutes.
Is it them sitting in Duffy's?
The yes.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, the 45-second
one. Oh, it's crusty.
Yeah.
I'm looking at a 15-second one, but...
Yeah.
I'm seeing... Yeah.
The intro to it is Homer saying that he's signing up for like the Navy Reserve or something, and all of them go, "Oh, I'll sign up too." You know, can't let like my best bud go off to war. So they all sign up, and then like one of them goes, "Oh, this is just like that movie, The Deer Hunter." And Mo goes, actually, fellas, that reminds me. And then he walks to the back.
He goes and gives them the. I see. Jesus. So that was one of the only things I really knew about. I knew vaguely. So I knew that this movie was a Best Picture winner. I knew that this director had a very interesting career, to put it a certain way. I don't want to taint anything before we talk more, but I knew that this was like a very infamous and controversial and like groundbreaking movie about Vietnam, had big cast, and I knew about the Russian roulette thing. Like I knew that was like a motif, but I did not know that it would be the motif and like the prominent, like I had no idea it was going to be such a foregrounded thing. So I guess the fact that that's the thing that they're making fun of in The Simpsons makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I had not remembered that, like, at all.
Oh, okay.
And then, like, part of the way through the movie, like, it pretty far into the movie, the red bandanas, when Nick first talks to the French guy, and there's a bunch of guys, like, all dead, like, with the red bandana on. That's when I was like, wait a fucking second, and that's when I fucking remembered it. And I was like, oh, the Simpsons did this!
That's so funny. Wow.
Yeah, that was a real hemisphere moment. I was also, like, a little angry at myself, almost, for, like, not remembering it, because I was like, Deer Hunter seems kind of familiar. And, like, the poster, the movie poster, I was like, that's so striking. I feel like
It's a familiar...
I mean, I've definitely seen it before, but I was like, I feel like I know some more about this, and I don't know where from. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's where, which is funny. Well, that's because like this was not 75 was it 75 was the year that we talked about. I can't remember when Nashville came out. Embarrassing. Is it 75? I think so, because it's the same year as Jaws. That's like a very famous Best Picture year. This year is less so like a big groundbreaking like movie year in the same way.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's kind of like a forgotten movie in a lot of ways. Like I think cinephiles know about this movie, but I don't think this movie's in the popular consciousness the same way that like the year before this, the Best Picture lineup has like at least 2 movies you've probably heard of, if not 3. Annie Hall, Star Wars, The Goodbye Girl. Like, I know you've heard of 2 of those probably, but, and then the year after this is Kramer versus Kramer, Apocalypse Now, and All That Jazz are all in the Best Picture lineup. So, like, those are 3 movies that I think are still in the consciousness. So, this one, though, like, these Oscars, the Deer Hunter year, like, Midnight Express, An Unmarried Woman, Coming Home, Heaven Can Wait. I haven't seen any of these movies. I've heard of most of them, but, so yeah, I feel like this is kind of like a forgotten-ish kind of movie and year, maybe. But it's such a famous, it was like such a big like this movie made like a literal shit ton of money. Like a lot of fucking money, and was so influential and important and whatever, but it's because of the history of the director, and I think some of the controversial elements of this movie, I think it's been kind of forgotten-ish, maybe, even though I think people still recognize it as a good movie, like cinephiles or whatever. Yeah, so.
That's maybe... I think history is maybe kinder to forget it than for it to become a American Psycho. Thoughts?
Oh, sure.
And do you see the parallel
that's a
here?
Really... I do. That's an incredible comparison, because I think this movie is kind of like... I liked this movie. As I sat with it a bit, I was kind of like, it's kind of empty though. Like it kind of reminds me of, have you seen The French Connection? We talked about this movie when Gene Hackman died, I think, but I don't know if you had said you had seen it or not.
I don't
It's kind of like
I don't believe so.
cops and drugs, criminals movie.
Oh no, I don't believe so, no.
That's a great movie, but it's just like completely devoid of like deeper like ethical or like philosophical meaning. It's just like a great, well-made action crime movie. It has like themes, but they're not really explored in depth. And I feel that way about this movie. American Psycho, I think that's a good comparison. And like, I could definitely see people like glorifying this movie's characters in a way instead of in like the like machismo and like male code and whatever, instead of being like, oh, this is trauma. Like, this is fucked up.
Right. Yeah. Well, and they would demonize... The thing is like, the same people who would idolize Nick, right? I mean, I think I feel like the person who idolizes Nick is one who is very similar to the person who idolizes Patrick Bateman, right?
Patrick Bateman.
Like, just a shade away, like a shade more nihilistic, a shade more, the entire world is against me, like, to like buck them, like, I might as well like live life on a razor edge. But they don't actually follow through, right? And then I also feel like there's people who would relate more to, what was it, Mike, our main guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he has the same problem in a lot of ways, or like he has a lot of the same foundation as Nick. Go ahead.
He does, but he distinguishes himself in a few ways, right? And I feel like those are very easy to forget, right? Because it's easy. So I think there's 3 scenes that really define like a lot of the big differences between them as characters. And like for me, I'll say it's the 2 hunting scenes, and then the scene with
Sure.
Nick and Mike at the end, right? And that sort of defines like their behavior,
their
right,
character,
right,
yeah.
and like why they're so different, and why they're that at hair's breadth away. And I guess I don't know. For me, it really comes down to like Nick has that like internal moral code, right? And it's
in the beginning, he's
he
talking
keeps
about
it, though.
one shot. It's
and he even keeps it throughout the entire film because like I don't know, like Nick promising him to come back, right, and him like following through years and years later after he realizes that Nick's still alive after he lost him, you know, it's like that's a very particular type of like honor, I guess I'll say, which I think the like the people who would idolize Nick or who would idolize, I would say the vast majority of people who would idolize Mike would idolize him because of how he acts outside of the war and outside of his interactions with Nick, right? Specifically with the one guy who was like sort of like touting around his gun.
Stan. John Cazale character. Yeah.
Well, I think, I'll say, I think people who would idolize him for the wrong reasons would idolize him for that scene where he like puts the gun to his head and like pulls the trigger, right? If he's like, "Oh, you want to play games? You want to play fucking games?" It's like, no, that is the part of him that is closest to Nick, and that is the part of him that he has to like kill, right? That he has to
rein in,
right. And that's the part that he's always been very aware of, and he's like, no, like. Or it's maybe not very aware, but like the way that he's so restrained, and like even like earlier on in like in the beginning hunting, that first hunting scene, like the whole hunting trip, like it establishes like how different he feels from the rest of like the group, and like how
he's all about order and like being prepared and like seriousness, and the others are just like, just give him your boots, who cares, like whatever.
Right, and like. I mean, we see that with him when they're captured as well. He has that same like, it's like, right,
he has drive.
Yeah. Like I'm not fucking dying here, and like I will get it. Like I will get us out, right? And like, I mean, even picking up Steve, right? And he tells Nick what like Nick needs to hear at the time, right? When they're down there, and he's like forget about Steve, like he's gone, like essentially it's one of those like empty your mind, right? Like either we get out up there, right? And then obviously he does save Steven, right? Like he goes back and saves Steven, and I think there's a similar comparison to be made like with Heat, like can you cut it all, leave it 30 seconds behind, right? And that
it's impossible not to draw the comparison with Heat because of De Niro, because of the De Niro of it all.
Yeah, but also I mean just like that male bonding versus like male like modern male toxicity, and it's like, well, like how close can you like be to somebody, and like. All of these tough guys, you know, they always have that, like, you gotta be able to leave them all behind, right?
Right.
But, like, they never actually follow through. So, like, you talk to people who idolize these guys, like, in their machismo, and they're like, yeah, like, like, I don't let anyone ever get that close. Like, I'm, you know, like, I'm willing to drop people at the drop of a dime. And it's like, yeah, but, like, that was never the point. That was never the fucking point of these. What?
You said drop of a nut, I think, first, which...
I probably did. I don't know what word I was starting to say, but...
Yeah, that was... Yeah, I don't know. But once your nuts drop, you're on your own, man.
Yeah,
it's over.
Essentially, bro. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that this... I hear what you're saying. I definitely think, you could idolize... I do, like... I do think that there's a type of toxic guy who would, idolize the wrong characters in this movie, right? But I also think
the right characters for the wrong reasons, in my opinion. But yeah,
right. I guess I'm thinking. I kind of feel like all of this movie is a bit of a bro-y macho male fantasy, like, the idea that there is a tough De Niro type who can, keep his cool and be prepared and like motivate his friends and doesn't forget his friends. That is also a version of a male fantasy. Like, the people talk about like, that the male, like one of like, I know we've talked about the Roman Empire, which you love, but, that the other thing like that men daydream about, like being in a survival situation and like rescuing or saving the day.
Yeah.
Like that's such a thing. And so I feel like even though that's like maybe not like a bad thing to fantasize about in this, I do think that there's kind of a hollowness to the De Niro character just being, again, like a paradigmatic kind of version of a man, you know, an action movie hero basically, but just like he has a little bit of a sensitive side.
Yeah.
You know?
Let's talk about the fantasy side of this for a second, right? So we talked about I'm thinking of ending things. Sorry, I do have a point with this though.
Go for it. No, please.
I'm thinking about ending things. The whole idea of like running.
I'm sorry. Can you say the title again?
I'm thinking about ending things. I'm thinking of ending things. Okay. The whole idea of like running tracks in your mind and like you like run them deeper and deeper. It becomes easy to run those tracks, but like it's they become muddled and it's hard to like, you know, actually forge a path forward when you're doing that, right?
Right.
People do that. So like I'm fine with people like, I don't know, people will do that about like survival situations, and that's where people get this idea that they're like, oh, like I need to have a gun all of the time in case like if somebody else has a gun, like I will be the one to save the day, right?
Right.
And it's like,
and you won't.
You won't.
But,
right.
Yeah. Just statistically, yeah.
I will say like and the problem is that like, I mean, news is obviously going to cover that like 1 out of 100 hero, right? But like for every time that something like that happens, there's a time where someone uses a weapon.
You shoot yourself.
Right. You shoot yourself or like you end up using a weapon in anger because you're not actually like the tempered, you know, like steel, iron-willed Bushido warrior that you thought you were, right? Like
it's an accident.
Or it's an accident.
Your gun goes off in your purse.
I'd say those are probably 90%.
Or your kid finds your gun.
Right. That's like 95% of it. Yeah. And then there's like 3% where something bad does go down, and the person who has a weapon just can't respond appropriately, or they're also identified as an assailant, right? And then it's like, okay, well, both, like, that's very, very bad, right?
Also bad.
And then, like, you get that, like, 1%, 0.1% or whatever, where, like, you get this hero story out of it, and it's like, okay, like, great, but that person who had started their assault, like, who had started being an assailant, like, they still did damage, right? Like, you didn't, like, yes, you did help mitigate it.
You didn't prevent anything.
You didn't prevent anything, right? And it's like, well, how much do we want to be proactive and preventive about this sort of stuff, right? But like, people run those same sort of things in their mind, and, like, ask Chris if he would ever do anything like that in the kitchens, because, like, I would definitely think about, like, oh, like, what if, like if one of the fryers catches on fire, like, how do we put out, like, the fire? Like, how do we stop that? And I have had things happen where, like, oh, like, we have, like, a big-ass flame off of, like the sauté station, and it's like, okay, well, like, what do you do? And it's...
You put fires out all the time.
Right. And then it becomes, well, but, like, you have to, like, think about it before, or it helps to think about it beforehand, because I've seen people just, like, freak out, and they're like, oh my god, like, what do we do? And, like, they go to, like, grab their water or something like that, and it's like, no, and, like, you just have to grab a pan and cover it, right? But, like, if you don't know that beforehand, right, if you're not, like, hey, like, fire, let me look for a pan, that has to be your, like, first thought. It can't be, like, what the fuck? It's, let me smother. And, like, just, like, the difference between, like, having that and, like, being prepared for it and not is, like, definitely, like, I don't know, it's reassuring to be,
it makes
like,
a difference.
Yeah.
But
I
there's
think people
so
get,
many
like, super
instances
absorbed
where people...
with like, they're like, oh, they...
Well, that's the thing with these people with, like, oh, well, I'm a prepper, I'm going to save my family from a roving band of criminals, you know, when everything goes to, you know, shit. And it's like, where's your fire extinguisher in your house? Like,
where's your gasoline coming from?
Common meeting point? Right. Yeah. How do you turn off your fucking natural gas meter or your electric meter in your house? Like, do you know? Like, if you have to? Like,
whenever people talk about that stuff, it's like, all right, cool, but, like, I don't know, man. If like,
where's your first aid kit?
Right, but if the economy stops flowing, right? Like, if items stop moving, right?
Right.
Which is what would happen in, like, societal breakdown, right? Is items stop moving. Gasoline goes bad in, like, what, a week or something? I don't know. It's like a month or something like that. It's like, like, we just can't store it safely for any longer than that. So, like, what do you do then, right? Like, what do you do for your food? What do you do for electricity, running water? And then, like, they go, oh, like, I just wouldn't need any of that, right? I'm just going to eat beans out of a can for the rest of my life. It's like, you're going... So, like, you would prefer... You think that that a life of eating beans out of a can is preferable to whatever current life you have now. And people will unironically say yes. And it's like, dude, I think you're just so...
You don't even know.
like your brain is so incredibly fried from the electronics that you're constantly on that you can't even imagine like 24 hours without your phone, and I guarantee you're going to start reconsidering that.
Yeah, people would lose their minds. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And now, like, when they, like, heaven forbid they ever find themselves in that situation, they'll say, oh shit, maybe this was the wrong thing. And it's like,
well, too late.
Little late. Like, little bit late, right? Like, I don't know, man.
Yeah. I don't think you're wrong. And so but that's why this, like, I mean, he is a prepared, like, coming back to this movie. So Mike is a prepared character. He does have that kind of drive, but
he's not over-prepared or paranoid, at least to me, right?
Right. Well, right. He's the perfect balance. And that's why I think between that, like, there's like kind of an emptiness. Like, what is this movie really saying? War traumatizes people, right? Like that, I think is the big thing. And so it's like, okay, you have that, you have some kind of like different takes on that, and how war, you know, if you're the right kind of prepared, then you won't be traumatized in the same way, and you'll be better, you know, equipped to deal with it if you're just this certain type of dude. So between that and the racism, which I kind of feel embarrassed that we're like 30 or however many minutes in, and haven't brought it up, but like, I think this movie's like mega fucking racist. And so like, and that's not to say that I don't think it's a good movie. But it's not the masterpiece I was hoping it would be. Like, I was really preparing to like lock in and be like, and I was locked in for very long stretches. I think The Wedding is like incredible fucking filmmaking. Like that is so, you get so much. I've seen so many people say like, this movie's bloated, this movie's too long, the wedding scene's indulgent, you don't need all that time. And it's like, you fucking need all of that setup, because that's where you're getting all that character shit, other than the hunting and when they're at the mill or whatever. If they don't have the wedding, you don't know these fucking guys at all, right? It's true. Yeah,
the hunting trip, they're just lovable idiots, maybe, right? But then it's like a lot of the hunting trip, right? A lot of the hunting trip doesn't make sense without the wedding, right? Because you're like,
agreed. Yeah, like, you don't have any idea of the dynamics.
Yeah, the dynamics between them. And even the way that Mike like does his like stern like bit, it's like like it. I think it just underlines like who he is, you know, like as a person. Because I don't know. He's just. Yeah.
I think so, and just overall the like the scene of the wedding, especially the reception, obviously, like, is so ominous. It's so fucking, there's so many omens.
Yes.
Like, it not only like the specific actions, like obviously the wine dripping on the dress and like things, you know, going wrong or whatever, but like the tone of the way it's shot, everything feels, because you're not getting a lot of like scenes where there's two characters kind of off to the side talking to each other. Like, there isn't a lot of that. And when there is, it's very clear that they're part of the bigger crowd. You can hear the crowd around them and like the music and whatever. And like, that just gives it this sense of like, like distance and remove and like solemnity that I think is really, you know, obviously like Meryl Streep and De Niro, like their kind of tension, like when they're talking and kind of like not looking at each other, trying not to look at each other, that's really, you know, like ominous. And then, you know, what happens with Stevie and Angela when he's like, you know, we never actually made it together, I think is what he says, or we never did it. And you're like, oh, okay, like that's a whole thing that you don't even really get, like, you don't find out who or like what the deal is there. It's just like it's really good at like conveying, oh, like, these guys aren't just like happy-go-lucky dudes who were throwing back brewskis and are like just off to the war, like completely, you know, doe-eyed and don't even know what they're getting into. They're going because they're trying to escape. They're like hoping that this will help fulfill them, that they think there's a role to be played here. And so like, you feel all of that in the wedding, and it's just, it's remarkable then to come back to it. And it's like, you know, the welcome party when they're coming back to Mike is so sad, and like, you know, he doesn't show up obviously, and just it's great. And you'd have none of it if he didn't set it up.
Yeah. And I like that you brought up the different like forms of trauma that's like inflicted upon them, and like, the ways that they react to what they went through in the war, right? And I don't hate me for this, right? I mean, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, right? Like a big portion of that is like the war and like how people react to the war. And like I mean, and like them being crippled or you know, needing prosthesis, which is very different. I mean, obviously they handle it very differently and a lot more Yeah.
But it's a good, I think, comparison to make, actually, like, of like, and in here, like, he doesn't have any prosthetics. He doesn't have, like, a means to be, like,
right. They don't have this here. Ability. Yeah. That's what I say. It's a lot more somber here. It's treated a lot more somberly and, like, a lot more grace. Well, I mean, maybe gracefully. This devastatingly, yes. Yeah. It carries a lot more emotional weight with it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah, it sucks. I mean, when they reveal Angela's, like, when Mike goes to visit them and you see her in bed and she's just, like, sitting there, like, looking hollow, you're like, oh my God, like, what could have happened to Steve to, like, produce this type of reaction from this woman who was pretty lively beforehand. Yeah. I mean, we didn't get to spend a ton of time with her, but she was, so yeah, it's scary. It's sad and scary. And then, of course, I think he's secretly, like, the most interesting. Am I, like,
you're not
crazy
wrong
for thinking
No,
that?
you're not wrong. No, yeah.
No.
I was going to say, so, like, Steve seems like someone that people would not demonize, but sort of, like, he's looked
brush
at as,
off, like, oh, he can't get over it. Yeah.
Or, like, seem as, like, the loser in many ways, right? And it's like,
he's a cuck, right? Like, that's like, there's that. Yeah.
Right. Like, a lot of things that make him, like, I don't mean like a loser, but like the loser of, like, everything,
he's, like,
of the movie,
low status.
Right? Yes.
Yeah, in the movies. Yeah.
And it's, I don't know, man. It's so heartbreaking, I guess, because, like, this really did, like veterans, like, were treated this way, and it's not something that they signed up for. I mean, things certainly happened where, like, I mean, I can't begin to try to justify any atrocities of war, right?
Sure.
But, like, were there guys who were there who, like, saw things that they never wanted to see, right?
Would never thought.
And never imagined that that's what they, like, were being conscripted for, right? Like, they, who maybe, if they had understood, like, the full ramifications of, like, going to Vietnam, would have...
Right, they wouldn't have volunteered the way that these guys did.
Right. Or, I mean, in the real life, I mean, because there were a lot of people who simply, like, couldn't, like, draft dodge,
they didn't have
right?
A choice.
It's like, like, I mean, you had to sort of have money to be able to dodge the draft, and it's like, well, a lot of guys were just there because they're forced to, and it's...
Right.
It's sad how, like, I don't know, like, their nation can, like, just rob them of their future, of their present, of their bodies, and then, I mean, like, you're keeping their mind in this, like... Yeah, like, once you bring them back, I mean... I'll say this movie... And it surprises me how friendly it seemed towards Vietnam veterans compared to what I've seen of a lot of just, like, real-life stories, like, from Vietnam vets and, like, from, like, documentaries about Vietnam in terms of how they were treated when they came home, right? And, like, even by, like, friends and family, or former friends, and family, just... I mean, they seem supportive here, right? And they're, like, the welcome home party and everything.
Yeah. So, something contextually about this movie that makes it kind of more interesting or stand out more is this movie was one of the first, like, widespread movies about Vietnam.
Interesting.
And one of the first ones that was, like, critical. Like, this came out before Apocalypse Now, before Platoon, like, before a lot of those, like, movies that really, or Full Metal Jacket, is years after this one. So, like, this movie was the first one that kind of said, like, maybe maybe we shouldn't glorify, quote unquote, war the same way. Like, this war specifically was especially heinous and, like, devastating to American troops and whatever. So I think that that's part of why it was so controversial, but also I think that might be part of the kind of, the stew that it's cooking in is the time of, like, maybe there wasn't the backlash to the war in general, but also to, like, to veterans. Although I have heard, I don't know this firsthand, but I've heard that, like, a lot of the hippies spitting on Vietnam vets when they came back thing is, like, trumped up a little bit. Not to use a term, but, like, that it's a little bit more propagandized than it actually happened. Not that, and again, I don't think that veterans are, like, universally accepted and everything's fine and it's all lies, but I do think that some of that that reputation might be a little bit overcooked.
So this is a Ricky lore drop. You
were in Vietnam. I knew that.
No. I worked, so for a little while there was an older man in my neighborhood who I would help him around the house, and like, you know, mow his lawn, put down carpet or whatever. Like we were just like doing shit, you know. And he was a Vietnam vet, so we like every so often we would have like pretty long talks because like we would be working for like 8 hours a day.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
And he told me a little bit about his time there and a little bit about like when he came back, and at least from his point of view, like he didn't feel really like physically spit on, but he definitely felt metaphorically spit on. Like he couldn't like get a job after he got back home. And like people like like he didn't have any friends left, right? And like the people, like the friends that he had from, you know, Vietnam was kind of few and far between, right? Were like difficult to keep in contact, yada yada. But he had no friends, he still had his family, I think, to return to, but like he talked about like going back to his hometown, and he was like, he just felt like a lot like Mike, right? Like a stranger in like, you know, like a foreign land.
Yeah.
He was like,
yeah.
It's like I.
But how much of that is like? How much of that is like the effects of war versus like the reception of people? You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. So
yeah. No, for sure. I'm just saying, like, even if it was all within like their heads, right? It's still
your
like
head, right? Quote unquote.
Yeah, quote unquote. Yeah. It's still like it's still very real, and like it's still like like they're still living with that every day, which a lot of people do look down on the like in their heads thing, but it's like.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't make it less real. Like, I don't know, they're still experiencing it. Like, what do you mean? Yeah. Like, I live
in my head. Like, I'm in there. So, like, of course it matters.
I've got, like, a, what is this, 4.6 pound fucking slab of meat up there piloting this whole thing. Like, that's what's going on, man. That's what all of us are. I don't know what you want.
I do.
Right?
I feel like the you know, the tide has not turned on, like, Middle East war veterans in the same way, like vets of like the early 2000s, like culturally.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder how much of that is just like the culture is just not ready to reckon with like Iraq or Iran at this point. But like the, you know, Vietnam, I feel like the criminality and like the complete horrific unjustification of it, like I feel like is probably a big reason why there was backlash, plus all of the, like, the fact that it was just, like, there was such a strong anti-war movement back then, the way that there doesn't seem to have been. I mean, we were both, like, 8 years old or 10 years old or whatever when we invaded Iraq, but, so, like, you know,
So, I think part of that is because the Middle East is still, like, geopolitically unstable, right?
Volatile.
And so it's difficult to have that conversation without there being stability in the area so that we can
invoking
sort of,
current,
quote unquote, look back, right? Yeah, like when you talk about it now, it's like you're sort of like talking against like the current. I mean, not even the current administrations, but like the current and like past administrations all the way back to when Bush invaded, right? It's like you're talking bad on all of them for not being able to solve the problem, and it's like, well,
and it's like, well, we can have nuance,
we can have nuance, and we can also question how much America needs to be the world's problem solver. But anyway, as far as like Vietnam goes, it's also like there are vets who, there was one guy in particular, and I am not going to be able to recount this story properly. I read part of his memoir and like certain interviews with him, but it was a guy who was like a general or something. He was like or an officer, like he was a commanding officer, and he was essentially told like, hey, you're going to go to this village and like burn it down. And they got there, and it was like all women and children, and like he'd been told stories about like the traps and whatnot, and he had encountered, you know, like guerrilla warfare, like he understood like the risks behind it. But he said like, no, like it's a village of women and children, like we're not, like that's just, he was like, essentially this is like a terrorist act. I'm not doing this, like it's morally unconscionable. And they like flew helicopters out there, and he was I believe he shot at them, and then he was like court-martialed for it, because he was like yeah, like this is not happening, and so he was like dishonorably discharged, and then they like 20 or 30 years later walked back the dishonorable discharge because they were like, well, like he was doing what he thought was right, yada yada. But it's this crazy paradigm where the most, like, I don't want to speak ill of every person who committed atrocities, because I'm sure that, like, there's a particular mentality that I can't really understand at play there for some of them.
Sure.
But for a decent portion of them, they're, like, neurotic, bloodthirsty, and they were like, we don't care, like, we get to inflict pain and horror upon another living being, right?
Well, and also, at what point does it even matter? Like, you know, condemning an individual person versus, like, if you're one of hundreds or thousands of people who are doing this sort of thing, like, it doesn't really make a difference. You know?
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, but then you hear stories about, like, people who, like, I've only heard really, like, the one big story of somebody who's tried to stand up against it, and then, like, just like, nope. Like, it's like, how many of these people were just shot for saying, like, hey, I'm not fucking doing this shit? It's like, well...
Yeah. Which makes it even more interesting that there was backlash, or like a more concerted, perhaps, you know, resistance against Vietnam back then when there was a draft versus now when it's like we were all, I mean, and I know 9/11 is a huge pretext to all of that and like fomented the kind of like environment or accelerated it, but still, you know, no one was drafted to go to Iraq or Afghanistan or, you know, or you know, so it's like, you kind of, you know, where it'll come hopefully in our time, in our lifetimes, the kind of reckoning. But we'll see. But
what do you mean? What do you mean the reckoning, like, with that? Like the reckoning with like what we did in the Middle East?
Like what we did.
And like the okay. I was gonna say like not like a draft, not like a reckoning with like like who.
No. Yeah. One day we'll finally get off our asses and go.
I've heard people talk like that lately, and I'm like, buddy, like what are you on? Like that's not.
People are crazy.
I know it's
so the. Go ahead. Go on.
I was gonna say, you talked about the escapism like angle of this. A lot of people are like, and I feel like a lot of disillusioned Gen Z boys. Yeah, like all the guys when they're back home and they're like they want to get away from like their like hometown lives. You know, they want something.
Oh,
they're looking for like meaning, right? Yeah. So their form of escapism from like civility or banal civility, right, is to go to war, right? Yeah.
Right.
I feel like there's a lot of
behind. Yeah.
Right. I feel like there's a lot of like Gen Z sort of like highly
glorification of war.
Polarized. Right. They've grown up with a like glorification of war, but like I mean, none of them are signing up for the fucking like Merchant Marines or like French Legion or whatever to try to drop over in Ukraine, right? Because they don't actually want that, right? But they want to LARP and pretend that they want that, right? And they're Nick. Yeah. In my mind, they're Nick, right? Or I mean, really, they're.
We talked about.
Really, they're all three of these guys.
They're who?
They're all really. They are all three of these guys, and it's just how it would impact them. Like, would shake out who they are afterwards, right? But like, I don't know,
I don't think so. That's interesting. I don't think that trauma can shake out a different way based on the type of person that a person is. Like I'm not saying, I'm not accusing you of that, but like, I think that the effect that any trauma, I mean, war, whatever, has on a person is not about their character or like the personality.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
So it's kind of like the idea that the through line that this movie wants to draw. I think that I'm so glad you brought that up because I think this is kind of like my ultimate argument about this movie being a little empty or like a little bit action hero, whatever, is like the idea is, right, Nick was kind of like whatever, a little bit dispassionate, kind of going for the wrong reasons, you know, vulnerable, and so he ended up losing his mind, right?
He chases the dragon,
Mike, he's prepared, he's organized, he's a little bit like reserved and modest, and so he's able to keep his cool and composure. And, you know, Steve is like wayward, kind of a schmuck, whatever, like nervous, and so he you know is like succumbed to just like a horrific injury that he can't recover from. I don't think that like anything that makes it that neat, like that kind of like, well, you'll survive a horrific experience if you just have the right character, is just like kind of like propagandistic or like fantasy. I think male fantasy specifically, and so we talked about this with on one, I don't remember what episode, but we've talked about it before with All Quiet on the Western Front and like the TikToks of that, like So it's like, I bet you $1 million there is a TikTok of Christopher Walken, Nick, in this movie being, like looking like a peanut butter, like made wax figure. Like he looks so crazy fucking waxen at the end of this movie. Like I can't think, I was like sitting there.
He's just skin stretched over bone. Yeah.
It's nuts. He looks insane. And so I bet you there's a fucking fan cam like of this set to some fucking like Arcade Fire song or something.
No, it would be the fuck. I used to get it on like YouTube Shorts with like Breaking Bad. There's some like reverb song that they love doing, like they're like like it would just be that, and like every drop or whatever would be like the him pulling the trigger, like a different scene on it.
Yep. I bet that exists. I bet you could find that.
100%. So wait. Well, I want to stay on that for a little bit. The whole like personality doesn't shake out. I know.
Hour in.
I know. But I think we're having good combo.
It's
right?
okay. It's okay. We are.
I don't want to. Well, like I don't want to make it seem like that's what I was saying at first, right?
No, I don't. I don't think that.
But like I mean, again, we talked earlier about nuance. But like, nuance here meaning like I do think trauma affects people differently, right? Like people can go through the exact same things and like have different trauma responses. Yeah. I think that's very, very real. And I don't think that it's dependent upon their personality or like
how they are
or who they are as a person. Right. Yeah. I mean, part of it's like coping mechanism and stuff, but like, it's just, I don't know. People are just like wired weird internally, and it's, there's no, I mean, we don't have an exact science for that. We don't get how that works, which is why why fucking AI sucks, like, you know, like, and we can't treat it, you know, we can't look into the human brain, and like,
it's true.
Yeah, so it's, you know, I think it makes it really difficult to have like a nuanced conversation about this. And I feel like, yes, maybe that makes the movie more hollow, but I feel like it would be difficult to show a more nuanced take than that on screen.
Well, I don't know, because I think, right, like, if you swapped which of these characters had which fate, or if you made because De Niro definitely, he comes back traumatized, right? But what we're seeing is a very like kind of like glory bound,
it's like rustic trauma.
Know, he's
like
it's very like old timey. Like you just your grandpa came back from war and he wasn't the same, and he was a little hollow and he was a little empty and like reserved.
Yeah.
But like he does have that flashpoint where he does try to pull the gun. Like that is insane, unhinged behavior. And he's reacting that way because he's so angry, right, about like the flippancy of dealing with a gun.
Yeah.
So like the idea of that being, you know, like the one time we really see him kind of like fly off the handle.
Yeah.
Like you could see something like he could come back and be, you know, and flip, and that could be like a thing that he does. Or again, if you swapped the fates of any of these characters, you know, it'd be a different movie, of course, but would it have a little bit more, like less of a fantastical kind of view? I think so.
Maybe. Yeah. Especially, I will agree that like establishing him as the stern type, the stern, solemn, prepared beforehand does maybe weaken the case of like, because when he comes back, I mean, he's kind of acting the same as before, right? And like everyone else around him,
he's not very different.
Everyone else around him acts very, very different towards him. But like, I don't think that like transformation of his character from the war is as stark as it could have been.
No,
not at all. Yeah. And that flying off the handle, even to me, like, I don't know. Because that scene really threw me for a loop in terms of how it relates to like him and Nick, and like the value that he has in like the sanctity of human life, right? Because like, in my eyes, when they're first escaping the camp, right, he saves Steven not because he's his friend. I mean, obviously because he is his friend, but like not just because of that. It's because like he's like a person who was also prisoner there with him, right?
Right.
And like, what cements that to me is when he hops down off the helicopter, right? And he and Steven's legs are broken.
Goes with him.
And he's like, I'm carrying him back, right?
Yeah.
That to me is like, oh, okay, like, and it's also like the super fantastical, like, you know, like he's
let me
the ultimate
jump after my friend.
Man. Yeah.
Right.
Meanwhile, Nick is just like unable to do anything, right? Like essentially, he's just like trying to get the fuck out of there, right? He's trying to get to safety. He's a broken man in many ways now.
Yeah.
Because like he was just too flippant, I guess, or whatever, right? And like, now he's trying to like relive that experience, right? He's trying to chase that dragon, you know, of what he had.
Yeah.
Versus, like,
funny to say that when he's literally doing drugs. Yeah. When he's literally shooting up heroin at the end.
I know he's shooting heroin and stuff, but like that first time, right, when he's like in there and he pulls the trigger against the guy's head and then pulls it against his head.
Yeah, he just does it instantly. Yeah.
That's all him just like he, I mean, to me, I read that as he thinks he should have died. He's trying to die, right?
Yeah.
And like he's trying to also chase that high of like I am going to die. Like right now I am dead. I am already like a dead man walking. Like like how much further can I go? Like I can't remember my parents' birthdays, you know? And so like I mean also while he's literally chasing the dragon via heroin, but it's like you know, And that might have been more interesting if we saw it happen to like Mike and then Nick, who was like a goof beforehand, like is super serious when he gets back, and then he has to go to Vietnam and Anyway, I've been talking way too much this episode.
You know, you're fine. That, no, it's a man's movie. I think it makes sense.
It's a man's world.
Well, I wrote down here like, are there any movies about Vietnam that are positive? But like now that I've written that down, like it's just like a talking point, which I like maybe the John Wayne one, but from like early in the war. But really, what I'm thinking, you know, it doesn't matter how you're portraying these characters, like anything from, and I get that like you can't have the perspective of both necessarily, like the Vietnamese side and the American like military side, but is there even a movie that you could do about any war that depicts a change like this, especially a real war that depicts like this is the effect that the American characters have like from being in the war, like, and not have it be at least a little bit propagandistic. Like, you know what I mean? We'll have to watch that, Come and See someday. That's the really long Soviet, I think, era movie, that's like about the war, and like, it's all like, it's like super traumatic and, you know, people love it. I don't know. I've never seen it, but, I've heard people describe that as like a great example of a movie not glorifying war. So, which I think it stars like a 12-year-old. Like I think it stars like a literal child. So I could see that. But but yeah. So like is there even an American movie that could depict a changing war, you know, like soldier, the effects, and not have it come off even a little bit propagandistic? Is there any arc that any of them could go through? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, when you say it, originally, when you say like, oh, like a movie that depicts Vietnam War and it's like maybe positive, a bit more kind or positive, is like Forrest Gump comes to mind immediately. And then I also thought of, I haven't seen this movie, but so I don't know if it's actually the Vietnam War, but Tropic Thunder I know is a comedy, and it's like I know they're like at war in the jungle. I maybe have assumed that is Vietnam. I don't know if it actually is. I haven't seen it, so I don't know
either. It's been a long time since I saw that movie. But it looks like
I just know that it's a comedy. I don't know, like
it is. It's not that funny, in my opinion. But it is not
it could have been.
It doesn't seem to be an actual war. Like
it's about actors making a Vietnam War film. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, that I knew. I didn't know it was Vietnam versus just like a generic jungle movie, but like, that's why Robert Downey Jr. is in blackface in that movie, and it's like people are okay with it. He got nominated for fucking like Academy Award for that performance.
Yeah, I cannot believe people were okay with it. Yeah, but
well, the idea is that he's supposed to be a like extremely annoying like method actor who's so like up his own ass that he doesn't realize that doing blackface is offensive.
Oh, okay.
That's the idea.
Okay, that's a kind of good bit. I could I could see that. Yeah.
It's I
could still see people like throwing up objections to it, and I wouldn't say that they're wrong at all for objecting to it, right?
Yeah. It's something, you know. So but it's not. I mean, I think that movie has a negative, you know, opinion of those types of movies and those types of actors. But it's been a long time since I've seen it. So as far as its take on Vietnam, I would imagine it's probably satirical.
Right.
Obviously, like the big ones that I mentioned earlier, Apocalypse Now, Full Metal Jacket, Platoon, all of those are like, this war was particularly heinous for like American vets.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, other Vietnam movies, like I said, there's the John Wayne one, I imagine is probably pretty positive on it, but that was made in like the day that we invaded, like it was like so early in the war.
Yeah. We were putting boots down and they were like,
other than that,
they're like, Mr. Wayne.
Like, get John Wayne out here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta get you. Yeah.
We need a movie turned over in 2 days and we need it in all theaters across America. Like, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. But as far as like the arc of one of these characters, yeah, I feel like it's kind of the same. Or like any, I guess Forrest Gump is an interesting one.
Mm-hmm.
Because Lieutenant Dan does go through an arc where he kind of comes out a little bit. But again, that movie's so propagandistic too.
That movie's
even though
really,
it thinks war is bad.
Yeah, that movie's
movie
really
fucking
weird.
Sucks.
To try to watch. Yeah,
donkey dog shit from a dick. Yeah,
it's so hard to try to like get a message from it. It feels like it just has like 4 people trying to make a coherent movie.
When's the last time you watched that movie?
Yeah, a while ago. So I first watched it as a kid, and I liked it a lot then. And then I watched it in like late high school.
Good movie for a kid to watch and like. Yeah, I think that's a common like.
Yeah,
and I'm not. That's not a dig on you. That's a dig on the movie.
Yeah. Oh no, for sure. I do think it is like, especially in the way that it sort of like kidifies like a lot of like very tough topics.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. I don't want to say it's a kids movie, but it does kind of feel a lot like a kids movie, and like.
It's for adult kids. Yeah. I would say. Like,
I mean, I'm bringing up the Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood thing again. I mean, in the same way that like that show was very good at conveying like tough ideas that like kids can ask their parents about. Forrest Gump did for me, where like like that was like how I started asking questions about like, oh, like what is war? Why does America go to war? Like, why is that not always good? You know?
Yeah, right.
Why is Jenny sick? You know, like that sort of stuff. And like, like always adults are like, oh, like you don't want to hear about this. You don't want to talk about this stuff. And like watching it, once I was in like high school, I don't think I've seen it in like the last 10 years or so. But yeah, I do remember I liked it significantly less. And I was like, this movie's kind of bullshit in a lot of ways. And I was like, like, every time it seems like it's going to say something, it just doesn't, and I'm like, this is weird, man. You know, like it doesn't take a stance against anything. Yeah,
I feel like that's the point of the movie is in a lot of ways of like, just go with the flow, right? Like don't worry about doing what's right. It's the best thing you can do. Be a centrist, like be a moderate.
It's also like
it's kind of
American grassroots exceptionalism, like you know, just so, you know, you just have to get lucky. You know, any young boy, you know, off of like cornfields of wherever, I don't know where he's from, but like can grow up and do all of these amazing things. And it's the same thing with like Homer in The Simpsons, right? Very obviously, it's supposed to be like failing upwards. You know, it's like, but like I think I don't know. It's just weird the way they do it.
Well, and the fact that movie, people have like this like kind of warm and cozy feeling toward it, and like and Forrest, when I feel like that movie is such a biting satire of like, you have to be like a fucking idiot. Like Forrest Gump does not have a demonstrable like disability, right? He's not like named as like autistic or something. So like you have to be a simpleton to have this type of centrist fucking view on all of these different American events and not have any nuance or like, like critical political views on it.
The
fact that people are just like, they have this kind of like the warm and fuzzies about that movie, and the other like long-term kind of, I think, impact of that movie is fucking like that people hate the Jenny character. Like that people are like, that bitch, crazy. She's such a slut. It's like, so like it's symptomatic of like, oh, you people deserve this movie. Like you don't, you know.
It's like hating Skylar from Breaking Bad. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, especially like in the earlier seasons when it's like, which is why people hate her for fucking Ted. Spoilers for Breaking Bad. It's like Yeah, her husband's fucking insane. Like, hello, dude, he's selling drugs. Yeah. Like, what do you want her to do, bro? Like,
he's getting in shootouts in the desert.
What?
Like, yeah. People, with the Sex and the City spinoff just ending a couple weeks ago, the discourse around those characters is, I mean, it's omnipresent, but it's really flaring up right now. And I've seen people be like, y'all want complex female characters, but you couldn't even handle these guys. Like it's and Skylar is another example. Like, God forbid a woman is not just wallpaper,
God forbid a woman have agency.
The male protagonist have anything. I mean, let women cheat on their drug dealing husbands.
Let women make any choices in movies, please. I don't know, or in shows too. Yeah. But I mean,
this movie's not great about women.
I know. I was gonna say, this movie also is not excellent. I mean, they're very often treated as set pieces, but in Breaking Bad, it's people glorify Walt, and it's dude, this is just an insane, unhinged man who is causing ill in thousands of lives. That's it,
and making terrible choices. He's gone. It's literally a transformation show. That's the whole point, is that he has descended into bad.
Remember when he made those two planes crash? That's his fault, by the way. Don't get it twisted. Anyway,
so I have to. I might cut this, but you say set pieces sometimes, and I think what you mean are props.
Yeah.
Why do you say a set piece is like a moment, a big moment on a specific part of a story, or a set piece is I'm trying to think, the wedding would be a set piece in this movie, or it's a big showy location based thing.
So the way that I've seen
not
it
a piece
used
of
before,
the set.
or maybe that is what I have assumed that, and that's the way that I've been using it, is that I think the wedding scene is a pretty decent view at that, right?
It's basic. Yeah.
Right. Where I don't know, we do see Angela, right? And we even see Linda interacting a bit, right? But there's not there's not much to their characters.
You don't get a lot of them.
Right. Yeah. Right. And
they're both abused or neglected. Yeah.
Right. And they do become just props, essentially. Although props sounds really dehumanizing. I mean, I guess set pieces is
but
also
that's what the movie's
but
doing.
That's what the movie is doing to them. Yeah. So I mean, I guess using it is appropriate language, but yeah. I mean, I know you knew what I meant by it. I hope the watchers also do. I'm glad you brought it up by
I'm sure they do,
to allow them. Yeah.
It's been something I've been I need to correct him on that one day, because a set piece is a big showy section of a movie.
Yes,
or I'm trying to think of a big,
any of the Om Shanti
the ship
Om,
in Titanic when it sinks.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
I was thinking of
wow, great
call. well, any of their scenes, any of their big production numbers, right? That's going to be a set piece, right?
Yeah.
They need it for that. So, yeah.
But anyway, yes, even though I think Meryl Streep is really good in this role, I think she brings a lot to this character that is not there in the dialogue or the way it's written. But it's you can only do so much with it,
Would have been nice to see a little bit more between her and Mike, specifically after Mike has his freak
back
out. Yeah. Well, I mean when he comes back too, but
sure.
The second hunting trip, right?
Sure.
The way that she's crying, it's pretty obvious that word has gotten to her, right? That Mike is unhinged or something, right? And it's well, but she still gets in the car.
I kind of
with him
figured
later.
it was about. I thought it was Nick. I thought she was crying about Nick.
But they didn't,
because they kind of know
yet,
that he's. I think they knew that he was deserted, or he had deserted.
Oh, okay.
I think that, or that he was off being a fucking. I feel like that's the news that she was maybe reacting to, or just general malaise of
it could just be general malaise.
This guy I'm with is kind of unhinged and distant, and my betrothed fiance is fucked up in Vietnam. I feel like there's a lot that we never see her dad again. All that stuff kind of there's all this stuff. I was okay, so we're gonna see this character have some sort of relationship with her abusive father, but then we never see him again. So it's just okay, why would we even do that other than to see or anything. So
confrontation,
it's underbaked.
Justice. Yeah.
Anything. Even just another scene of their dynamic, so.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about bloated movie. It's are there some things that are included? I mean, like that in particular, where it's like it seems like it's leading to something. It seems like it like that would be able to like maybe elevate this to like I don't know, like transcendental. Like sure. I still think it's a great movie. I still really really enjoy it for like what it does give. You know.
I do think it's a well-constructed movie, and I want to talk more about, like, the race aspect of this, because at first I was like, okay, you know, it seemed like we weren't going to see a lot of Vietnam, if any. Like, I was kind of under the impression that, like, just from the log line of this movie, I thought it was all going to take place after they came back. Like, maybe we would see, like, a snippet in the beginning, and then, like, afterward would be, like, their return and what went down. And so the fact that we spent time in Vietnam was a surprise to me, but then in the beginning, I was like, okay, they're kind of like depoliticizing or like even apolitical about the war. Like there isn't like a discuss, like they might say a couple of like shoot a few for me, like that type of thing, but there isn't like they're not using racial slurs or like any kind of, it's like the war having a political like purpose or being ginned up for political purposes is not even like on their radar. And so I was like, is this movie going to be completely just like, it doesn't matter. It's just taking place in Vietnam because Vietnam just happened, and this is just this could be any war, and it kind of could, but specifically the way that the Vietnamese people, both their captors and like all the bystanders, are treated is so like vicious and like it's weird because this movie is about like a very specific ethnic community. So the fact that it's like our good, you know, religious beliefs versus their chaotic savagery.
The two.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yes,
like
the ships like going to beat each other.
Right,
it's the two hamlets or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
It's weird and it's jarring and like very. I mean, the depiction, and again, just with it being cooked in just a few years after Vietnam ended, like that sentiment was obviously still there of like, you know, they were barbaric, they were sadistic, whereas we might have done horrible things, but it was because we had to, you know, kind of a thing.
Right.
So like,
right.
Yeah. It was very strange and not what I expected at all from this movie.
I think that, and I feel like, I mean, not just this movie, but a lot of movies made around the time had similar depictions, and it sort of cemented people's ideas of that, of like what occurred in Vietnam. And it also, I feel like that was made that way in order to justify in people's minds, like
totally, 100%.
I mean, not only the atrocities that occurred, but also like the economic path that we sent them down afterwards, right? And the way that we eventually said, because essentially, like American involvement said, okay, well, we're going to declare this War 1, we're going to leave, and it's like Vietnam did essentially fall to communism, right? And they were afraid that it was going to be like the red domino, is what they sort of looked at it as, and it just didn't, right? We just needlessly inflicted like pain and horror upon not only our own people, but like people of a separate nation for
millions of other reason. People. Right.
And then we essentially like, I mean, we didn't. I mean, we did kind of condemn them to be destitute as a nation for a long period of time, right? In order to rebuild. And it's like, why so many sweatshops like form there? And I had a teacher in my college, I'm not going to name names, speak proudly about how he was one of the first people to visit Vietnam after the war in order to set up sweatshops. And I like dropped his class because like, dude, you're insane.
Disgusting.
That's like one of the grossest things I think anyone's ever said. And like to be proud of it and to like treat it like it's some great moral,
and to feel like you're so comfortable to say it. To verbalize it is crazy. That's fucking despicable.
Dude was like 70, and I was like, bro, like, I just think if you have like the wrong person in class and you say that, like, you deserve to get your shit rocked, like, you know.
True. Yeah.
And I was not like too politically charged at the time, but I was like, that just makes me really uncomfortable.
Well, just like, even just be like, I set up a sweatshop in general, like even if it wasn't with all this, like, But like, it's crazy.
Yeah. So, but I mean, again, he probably felt to a certain degree justified because it was like, oh, like, the people are like savages, right? Yeah, they're uncivilized.
Blah, blah. Yeah,
and so like this is a better job.
Didn't you see how they made them play Russian roulette in Deer Hunter? I saw that. Like, yeah, right.
And like, oh, this is better than like subsistence farming, and it's like,
actually. Yeah.
And in a lot of ways.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, in a lot of ways, maybe this is a wrong take, but I feel like this movie could be seen as sort of pointing to that, right? And saying like, oh, like the way that these men use like the young men of Vietnam start throwing their lives away in this game, right?
Yeah.
It not only dehumanizes them, right? It says like, oh, look, they're willing to throw their lives away for like less, like almost nothing, and like, it also goes to show how desperate they are for money, right? And it's like is that not like
how they get that? Yeah.
Right. And like that's not like tragic to you, right? You don't see like these young guys throwing away their entire lives for like pocket change, right? You don't see that as like a horrible tragedy and like a failing of like the society that they're a part of. Like, I don't know, right?
Well, and it's so interesting because when they depict the fall of Saigon at the end, which is when De Niro goes back to pick up Christopher Walken, or try to, like, he shoots it like it's hellfire. Like, there's everything's on fire, like it's horrible. And there's lots of like fire is like as an omen type of imagery. Like, I mean, the movie opens with like sparks in the steel mill and like all of this like molten, you know, kind of like imagery. And you see that throughout. So it's very clearly... Yeah, it's very clearly supposed to be like, okay, this is terrible, this is a horrible atrocity, things are worse, but like it has that political remove by not discussing or foregrounding any of the machinations or like reasoning behind the war. And I get that like maybe these guys just didn't know, and that's the point, but it feels at best irresponsible with this movie to like have that take. Now, of course, 3 years after Vietnam ended, like, sure, were they going to be that boundary pushing or like that political? Maybe not. But Apocalypse Now came out like a year later and was very much about like the, you know, the political aspect of it, as much as it is about like just like horrors of war. There, you know, that sentiment was there. Also, before you respond, you said wrong take, and it made me think of wrong think. And I think we should start putting that together as like the way that people talk about 1984 and like wrong think. We should just elevate that to wrong take.
Yeah,
like, I'm gonna wrong. Let's make that a word. I'm
about to drop a wrong take right now. So yeah.
I'm wrong taking. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Russian roulette. How did you feel about that? Now, is that just because they were Russian? Like,
maybe. So
I'm baiting a little bit, but like...
yeah, that's fine. I mean, I did look up afterwards that was not something that occurred during the war, and I was like, okay, I think it's
which like
kind of dirty and devious to include it. I mean, I get. Again, this is it's the whole like you can't make a war film without glorifying war, but it's like you can't make a war film without demonizing the enemy, right? Like, there's always going to be an enemy in a war.
Yeah, right.
Right. It's like
crazy.
Right. And you can show atrocities of both sides, but it's like whoever is watching it is going to internally justify the side that they agree with more, right?
Right.
And so they will see the atrocities of the other side as being the worst atrocities of the two. Pretty much no matter what. Like, I feel like it, like, as long as they're like kind of equal in scope, you'd be able to say, like, no matter how objective you try to be, you're going to have a bias one way or the other, right? And I mean, it's kind of fucked up to include something that's so like something that's like false.
Visceral and evil.
And it's so visceral and evil, and
that's
like
false.
Yeah. I mean, okay. Having said all of that, right? It's fucking sick, man. These scenes are so fucking cool. This shit is so sick, bro. This is awesome, man. This is so fucking cool. It's awesome, dude. This is the best, bro.
They never
get out.
They're upsetting.
I'm like, oh, bro. Yeah. Oh, it's deeply viscerally upsetting. Yep. Oh, yeah. Great scenes.
I was locked the fuck in.
Oh, yeah.
But it's so action movie bullshit. It's like afterward I was like kind of feeling like I feel a little dirty like enjoying those scenes because it's so like, and the fact that it's like they learn this Russian roulette thing from fucking like the Vietnamese, whatever, like soldiers, and the fact that they're then using it as this like allegory for like losing your mind, like the effects of war is like it's a game, you know, whatever, or like just like random chance.
Yeah, some people
it's incredible filmmaking, but so but it's you know, it's so offensive.
Yeah. But I mean, it's, and like, again, the thing is, we've talked a lot about
good
Nick
art
being,
is offensive sometimes.
Good art is offensive,
right?
yeah. But we've talked a lot about Nick being, or I've talked a lot about Nick being like romanticized by the wrong types for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
But like,
and that's and you're like, and that's me. I'm romanticizing this sick ass action.
Because because it's very difficult to remove it. But like, when you look at like, I mean, obviously, like, it's like the drug effects, yada yada, and like he's a dead man walking, and like they're driving that point home, right? And it's like yeah, and like that's very easy to fall into. But then you take a look at like, okay, I mean, it's really racist that like everyone running the games, it seems like it's they try to make it like a cultural thing, right? Like, oh, like the Vietnamese just culturally do this,
like they're just they have this like sweeping sensation as if it were like the hula hoop or something.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, everyone's doing it.
Yeah. And it's like they have like these underground rings for it, so it's like, okay, like maybe they adopted that from the soldiers, but like they're like showing, oh, it obviously continued afterwards because they're savages, is what it seems like to me. It's like they're trying to like, they're really driving home, and it's like, oh, like Nick has lost himself, right? Like and I mean, he really, like, he died in that hut, like when even though he got out, like, you know.
Right, he mentally was gone.
Yeah. But like his ghost, like, not to be like out there with it, but like his ghost like still haunts Saigon, you know, and like his buddies try to go back and help him, and like he only sees it in like these like dens of debauchery where they're killing themselves for sport, you know, and it's like, that's kind of, I don't know, just weird, just really weird, and yeah, just like
distasteful,
and like racist. If like, imagine if Nick had come back home and like he was doing like a Fight Club thing with this shit, and like they were doing the gun thing at home, right? And like it was still still a part of like the opioid epidemic, right? But on American soil, and it would paint it would paint like everything in a very different light because of who's like profiting off of his suffering, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't necessarily set this war in World War II or World War I, right? Because of the like the nature of guerrilla warfare being so different, right? But like, you know, I mean, so I get the context, but
we talk a bit about Iraq, you know, and we talk about coming home and like having lost your mind. I think Iraq has one of the like highest death tolls of like
PTSD
those of like return.
Oh, suicide.
From suicide and drug overdoses, right?
Deaths of despair.
And you sort of look at that and it's like, well, like you could make this movie and you could make it now, but instead of being stuck in, you know, Vietnam or Iraq as you would remake it, like they would come back home and they would be like, I mean, I'm not going to name like the areas that I know of like that, but like they would be like on the streets of a major American city, not receiving help from their country, right? And it's like,
or the suburbs, or right.
I mean, or the suburbs, There's also like, I mean, from where I grew up, there's like a few places which are known for like that, and it's sad because like it's not like that's like the demographic. Like a decent portion of that is veterans, right? It's not like insignificant, and it's really sad to try to minimalize that and make it like a personal burden or a personal failing. And I, you know, I'm agreeing more and more with your take about like, this movie maybe being a bit more empty in terms of like how it shows like the different outcomes.
Sure.
It makes it seem almost deterministic, right? Where like, like if you get broken by that and come home, well, like, you're just a loser for that, right?
Skill
like,
issue.
Skill issue,
Right. I haven't seen a lot of, like, Gulf War or, like, you know, current-ish war movies. I just have not seen as many because they're not lauded as classics in the same way. So I'd be curious to know if there are any. Like, I know I've seen fucking American Sniper, which is, like, a different kind of... That's a whole different can of worms. I've not seen The Hurt Locker, but I know of it. Like I feel like there is like there are a bunch of those types of movies, but I'm not sure I know any of them. I've never seen Jarhead, of like the big totemic kind of like new millennial war movies that are maybe dealing with some of those like PTSD effects in a more humane kind of way. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
I guess The Hurt Locker, I think that one deals with him coming home. I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it either.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. I say this all the time about Silence of the Lambs. Like, great art is offensive sometimes, unfortunately. Like, there's just nothing to, I think this is a beautiful movie. Like, this movie looks amazing. It's so well acted. It's the filmmaking itself, the editing is very, very intense and watchable. Even though this is a 3-hour movie, it doesn't feel like it. The wedding scene is incredible.
Yeah, the music is excellent. All of the music, I feel like, hits the right tones right when you want it.
Yeah.
And
I feel like I've heard the theme
in general. Yeah. It does. It feels like reminiscent.
I've heard that before.
Yeah.
Yeah. It might be reused in another movie we've seen. I mean, it's not impossible for that to have happened. Especially this movie's 50 years old at this point. But the split diopter shots, do you know what that is?
I do, yes, where it focuses on two different there are two different focal lengths on in the same camera reel. Yeah.
There's so many of those, and especially in the beginning, there's all of these shots of somebody looking kind of at a smaller image, like a person's face in the foreground, and then a smaller image, and it looks like they're looking down on them or looking at them kind of in a godly way. Especially in the church. Mm-hmm. It's very it's ominous. It's another one of those ominous kind of things tonally in the beginning that makes it feel like, oh, they're all gonna die. Like, they're all gonna feel like shit. Nothing good is gonna happen.
Yeah.
But
speaking of ominous tones, and like, I don't know whether a split diopter was used here a lot during the first the chase scene with the hunt, right? But the one shot, one kill in the first hunt, right?
Yeah.
And we get like the orchestral swell, or choir or whatever, and it zooms in on the deer
chorus,
the choral swell, and we see it, and it's like death throes. We see its eyes,
Which I was like, did they really shoot a fucking deer? And then
I asked that as well.
And they just tranquilized it. So
okay.
Yeah.
I was going to make
my
the
notes
joke.
Literally say, "Damn, did they shoot a fucking deer?" Like,
I was going to make the joke. Well, with the joke for that, I was going to be like, with the birds, to be like, oh, like, how many birds died on the set of the birds? How many deer died on the set of the deer hunter?
The deer hunter, yeah. The elk at the end that they shoot is very good acting or that they don't shoot, I should say. Hunting.
Yeah. Where it stands there nobly. Acting. Yeah. Oh yeah. I'd want that guy in my films.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. Let's cast him. Get that guy back on the screen.
What? Because to me, I don't know. I want to draw a through line between, and like I don't know if there is one, but I feel like there is something to do with like the innocence and like it's Mike's code, where that first deer he kills, right?
He shoots it.
And then the second one right when he's about to, he lets it go. And then immediately afterwards he has that outburst of anger when they're like, playing like
it's the sanctity of life that you mentioned.
Okay, it is just sanctity of life.
It's I think it's like now he can't bring himself to kill merciless or mindlessly, and then when he sees Stan just like fucking around with the gun, he's like, you aren't taking this seriously enough. He's like, it's the same problem he had with Stan before, but now he can't even contain it because it's about a gun.
See, and now it's like a killable offense. Like now it's like, oh, like an executable.
Right.
Yeah. But then he sees Nick, right? Who's also like thrown his life away and like is willing to repeatedly do so over and over again. And he says, it's almost like a Christ the Redeemer thing where he's like, I'm willing to do the same thing. I will also put my life on the line. I will recreate like if I have to, I'll recreate what we did before, right? Yeah. If I can bring you back to that time. And he fails at it, right? And like the guilt he feels for telling him the one shot, one kill, and like it like he brings Nick back to like reality.
That's the thing.
And like he makes Nick mortal again. Right. Yeah. And so like he's gonna blame himself for having the bullet in that. Right, yeah.
Yeah, because he's been presumably doing this for like months, on end,
if not years,
and, like, making all kinds of dough.
Yeah.
So it's almost like his trauma was like protecting him, or like his like disbelief that he could recreate it, or like his but then he was freed, in like a mercy killing kind of way, almost by De Niro.
And when he's like the one shot one killing, he goes like, "Oh, I remember." Like that's him. Like you see like the spell break. Yeah. He's freed.
He's like, "Oh right, I can kill myself with this gun."
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
It's scary. It's crazy. Yeah. And De Niro's reaction in that, like his acting in that moment where he's cradling his head and yelling.
Oh yeah.
It's very upsetting.
Because it's And to me it's that like the sanctity of life. Like he killed before, and then now he's like, okay, I can't do it again, right? Like I need, and like he's like, I'm not having any of my friends die. He's like, oh, but like this dickhead, is like not obeying the sanctity of life, like kind of deserves to die for that, right? And now he does like the and I'm just repeating myself at this point, but he does like the Christ the Redeemer, like you need to like I need to save my friend. He goes to save him. Like I traveled 12,000 miles here to come save you, or 14 or whatever. To like come save you. Like look at me. You need to know who I am. And then he's like, oh, I'll put my life up. And like even that's not enough. Like he can't. And then the blood.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's upsetting. That whole ending bit when he mentions the trees, the different kinds of trees. It's very upsetting. But we haven't talked very much about Stan or Steve, or the other guys. I mean, there's like John, the bar
Axel,
guy,
or whatever.
Axel, who's always like fucking A. Like that seems to be his like character thing.
His thing.
Say fucking A. But Stan, I want to talk at least about John Cazale because who plays Stan.
Yeah.
Did you recognize him
Not
as an actor?
Really? A lot of these guys, I had to like look up afterwards to be like, because I was like, oh, like I kind of recognize them, but like even like De Niro, I was like, who the fuck is this guy? And like Christopher Walken,
really,
I was
you
like,
couldn't recognize him? That's so crazy.
No.
Wow.
I was like, I've seen them before.
He is so young.
Yeah. I mean, Walken too is like super young, but like the gauntness, I guess, should have given it away. Meryl Streep, like, I mean, everyone I had to like look at and be like, oh fuck, like I see it.
Yeah. So John Cazale, he's in like 5 Best Picture winners or Best Picture nominees, and that was it. And he died after this movie.
Oh wow!
Like he had like an all-timer, like will never be created again, like run of like he was in like both Godfathers, The Conversation, Dog Day Afternoon, and then this movie, and then he died. So like, and he was really well known for being like he's Frito in Godfather, the squirrely little brother.
Yeah.
So, but he's always playing these kind of like squirrely, mild-mannered, kind of like shitty guys, and like he's unbelievable to watch because he's so fucking weird and squirrely. Yeah. Like in a good way. He's like Steve Buscemi. Like he really reminds me of Steve Buscemi a lot, of like the like, this guy's so fucking weird, but you can't not watch him. Like, and even if he's playing a good guy or like an okay guy, you're still kind of like, he just looks like he just like embodies like creepiness in a way, not just even from the way he looks, but just like something about the way he holds himself. Is upsetting.
It always makes me feel like squeamish, almost like I'm looking at something like wrong, right? But they're also like
I shouldn't,
right. But then like they also have like just enough charisma, and like a lot of like Steve Buscemi roles, like he has like just enough charisma, and like I feel like the same thing with John Cazale.
This guy,
where like. They're not unlikable, right? And like you, like it's definitely not a get this guy off my screen. It's like, oh, I want more of this guy on my screen, but like it makes me.
But
feel
I kind of
weird.
don't want to see him though. Either. I don't want to look at him with the lights on.
Yeah.
It's cool. I just rewatched Fargo, like last week, and I was like, damn, Semi's such a great fucking actor. He's so awesome. He's so cool. But yeah, so that, and then I really like Steve. I think, again, we kind of talked about, he gets kind of paid dust for a lot of this because he is, in the wheelchair in the veterans hospital. Mm-hmm. So you don't see him as much, but during the bingo scene, when they show that he's playing bingo with all these like old guys, more or less, and like the anguish on his face while he's just like being fucking, like forced to play bingo basically because there's nothing else to fucking do. And then like, his face on the phone when De Niro first calls him. Yeah. It's so crazy. Just like there's a whole other movie there that would be maybe better than what we get, like this like violent outburst and like heroism and tragedy. Like this is such a quiet kind of like, yeah, under portrayed maybe arc of like how would he deal and like how is he dealing and why did his wife go catatonic? What happened there? Like all of that is so interesting. But then at the end there's like this little redemptive note of like she's talking and they seem to be getting along again and he's come home and you know, but his performance is great too.
Yeah, I did want to ask about the phone scene. I mean, excellent scene, right? But like,
yeah,
he was like high, right? Like he seemed like I thought he was like on drugs. I mean, and maybe that was just because like I didn't
take it that way.
Hospital, just like the way their conversation was flowing, and like it's obviously like he was trying to get off the phone, but he was also like trying to like sort of like reassure like Mike that like he didn't need help.
Yeah.
But like just a couple.
I think he was just so jarred. And like I think the reminder of there's a world out there. I had a life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, also like talking to like the guy that saved your life and also kind of condemned you to the life that you're currently leading, right? Like there's definitely a lot of emotions. I didn't know whether it was like, and like, I mean, maybe this is
literal
a personal failing. Right. Like I couldn't tell whether it was like literal drugs or if it was just like an altered state of mind from like his emotional distress, which is like, yeah.
The way there's a lot of like shots of his reactions or like how he's straining to get words out on that phone call scene. And I do feel like he's just so overwhelmed with like the flood of like all of those emotions that we just talked about. Like I feel like, you know, can just be, you know, where you're feeling like I'm so overwhelmed I don't even know the words coming out of my mouth. Like that kind of thing.
Okay,
that's the vibe I got.
Yeah, because I kind of got and like it was just a question, like kind of nagging about. I'm like, is he just like super drugged? Because it's like he would also like switch back and forth because like sometimes he's like, oh, I think I'm staying here a while, and he's like kind of like loose and flighty, and he's like, it's like a resort. And he's like a lot of wheelchairs going around back here. Like I gotta go. It's curfew. Like it's it's one of those like I don't know. Yeah. Definitely. Like stream of consciousness almost. I think the like just saying what's on your mind, stream of consciousness. Yeah, is what. Yeah. I was reading there.
Yeah. And then the scene of them reuniting in the hospital is also so emotional and like you're like, De Niro, you don't have to force it to happen right now. He's not going anywhere. Like you can bring him home tomorrow or next week. It would be okay. Like don't force this. He's literally dragging him by the wheelchair at one point. Yeah. You know, and he's like it's just not he's not ready, right? Like he can't have been home for more than a couple months. So it's heart-wrenching. And then for them to realize it's coming from Nick, which is a little contrived, but you know, still I still
kind of like it. And it's also like, I mean, Mike's like saving everyone, right? So like there's like the one that he can save and the one that he can't, right? It's like, well,
yeah. And his girl, like he gets the girl. Their relationship is like, and I don't think it's a flaw necessarily. Like I get why these two people would end up together because they already had expressed something and like he's broken, she's broken, you know, just like
in similar ways, like, and they both miss the same person, right? You know, but in like very different ways of that, but like they're broken in the same way because of, you know, their absence.
Which is it's good, you know. I think this movie or like other movies where there's like a broken man at the forefront can often portray the relationship with a woman as like redemptive or even just like a location of solace or like a place of solace, right? Where it's like, okay, well, we're going to shoot this, like their love scenes are going to be a little bit more tender and like maybe a respite from the depressing tone of the rest of the movie. Heat does that actually, but for different reasons and to different ends. But this movie, it does not do that. And in fact, their scenes together are nothing but sad and like distant. And even when they're having sex, it's like, it feels unemotional and mechanical. And you're like, it helps because it could be very like kind of sappy to be like, well, at least they have each other, you know?
Right. When they're like first talking to each other and they're just sort of like walking around with you, like it's like almost mechanical, but it's like putting like suits on like empty like animatronics or whatever, and like having them like walk around. Very, very impersonal, very like borderline robotic, but like just like soulless, right? Like Dementors fucking like floating by each other, you know, like. Yeah.
It's good. I mean, I do like this movie. I don't know where I'm going to come down on it. I haven't rated it on Letterboxd yet. This is,
I really like this movie. Like, and like acknowledging the flaws of it and all, I still, as far as movies go, like this is way up there for me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's, I mean, good. I'm glad it has the reputation. Now, something we should mention. First, let's talk about the very ending, the scene at the bar at the end where they sing God Bless America.
Yeah.
So, sad, very ironic. I feel like that's pretty intense at the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Very ironic, no? Like, that's supposed to be like a... It's like an indictment, right? Yeah. Like, of America. Yeah.
Right.
And kind of those who stayed behind and, like, the way that they... I don't know. A lot of the scenes where Mike is in his, like, own self-imposed isolation, and, like, we talked about how, like, well, it's, like how much of the reaction to veterans coming home was self-imposed versus, like, a cultural phenom.
Right.
It's... Like, the whole, like, God bless America, and, like, the guys coming up to him at the bowling alley and being, like, super genial when, like, doesn't seem like they maybe would have done that before. It's like, well, like...
Which, there's your other omen in the beginning, them meeting the one Green Beret in the bar, and he's just like, fuck it, or like, it's fucked, or whatever he says, and they're like, get a load of this guy, like, what's he on about?
Yeah.
And of course, the whole movie to play out this way. And they talk about flags, like the American flag in the beginning too, so yeah, there's all of these omens that actually it's not going to go very well, and then for it to pay off in the end of like, when they're at the bowling alley, or in the end at the bar, you know, they're trying to make it right with these like, very empty kind of gestures, like let's get the coffee, let's get the beer, like let's do what we can, and it just doesn't obviously fill the hole.
Yeah, I mean, so much of Mike is like trying to move on and like save what he can, salvage what he can, and so like I do think it's like kind of like maybe not inspiring, but it is optimistic that like, you know, Stephen and Angela are both there, right? Like he's managed to move on, like, and like
the
even
community
after
is still there, right,
and even after like Nick is like gone, right, and like. Mm-hmm. At least they can put him to rest, and at least he's like he did get him back home. At the end of the day, he got him back home, you know. And it's like, well, so he can kind of hopefully move on in some way, and like in a broken, shambling...
there's hope to it,
right. It's very different than it was before, but like, definitely like a transformation movie,
When I was watching it, I thought that it was going to end on the graves. Because it has that lingering shot of the cemetery after they all walk away. I was like, oh, we're going to cut here and it's going to be really dark. And then like the movie ends on this, kind of moment of like ironic hope almost. Like they do still have all each other. I do think the movie is thinking like they'll make it through, they've changed, but it'll be okay. But then that singing of the song is so ironic that it feels like anti-hopeful in a way.
Yeah. I feel like it's not so much like, oh, they made it through and they'll be okay, but like, oh, like yes, they made it through.
They're physically here. Yeah.
They're physically here, right? And then like, but it's like, oh, God bless America, right? And like they did this for the land that they love, right? And that will and it's like with any war, right? Like in doing so, like doing that, like you think that like you might think you're doing the right thing, but like the way that it affects you is just so horrific, right? And like it leaves you like unmistakably changed. And that will continue for any other conflicts that happen in the future. And, like, I think specifically it's indicting, like, American policy and, like, getting involved in, like, the Vietnam War, the Korean War, and then, like...
Yeah, especially a war like this one that's, like, so many degrees abstracted from, like, true defense of your homeland or anything, right? Like, right. People talk about this
defense of an ideology that the war was founded on. And it's like, that's...
That might impact us down the line. Right.
It's not even, like, an attack on your ideology. It's the fact that another ideology might spread. And it's like, well, so, like, what's wrong with this ideology? And it's like, well, it leads to so many deaths among, like, their people. And it's like people will say that, you know, from like, oh, like Russia or like now it's China. And it's like, okay, but like, that's not a negative for you. If anything, right? Like if you were truly saying like, oh, like I want to, like I'm looking out for me, right? Then like, why would you intervene? Like, don't intervene when your opponent is making a mistake, you know? So it's like, obviously,
because then it becomes not about defending our homeland. Right. Then it's, you have this like competing kind of like, motivations of like, well, we have to defend our country versus, well, now we have to defend our ideology. Those are two different things.
And even if your ideology isn't under attack, it's just like, oh, it might be in the future. It's like, What?
Yeah.
How? Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's an interesting ending. Yeah, it definitely was more complex than I thought it would be because of that. So, the director and kind of one of the people who wrote the screenplay and came up with the story, and one of whatever the main guys behind this.
You said there's some
this movie
tensions. Yeah.
There's some stuff. So this movie, really huge, fucking like enormous hit. Best like best picture, won a bunch of stuff, whatever, and like Christopher Walken is an Oscar winner because of this movie. Made like $1 bajillion. Something that people don't talk about with old movies is like a lot of these movies made fucking Avengers Endgame kind of money because of like they're just the way that movies were bigger in the culture back then. Huge hit. The next movie the director makes was such a big fucking huge failure and critical failure and commercial failure that he like basically never made another big movie again. Like
wow.
Crazy. Like he's made other movies and he died like 10 years ago or so. But Cimino like this was his second big movie, like his second real movie, and he made like 3 movies after this, maybe over the next like 40 years or 50 years. Because Heaven's Gate, which I considered us watching before this one, and I was like, no, we should watch The Deer Hunter first. But Heaven's Gate, which is another movie with like a really long runtime, people think it's super bloated, has a bunch of famous people in it that you would recognize. Actually, the piano teacher herself, Isabelle Huppert, is in it.
Yeah.
That just got such a crazy reaction out of you.
Are you looking at to the budget versus box office?
Oh yeah, of Heaven's Gate.
Yeah. It's almost the exact.
They were in the hole.
Hunter. Yeah. Well, like Deer Hunter flipped 15
like $2 million
mil into 49 mil,
yeah.
right? It's like, oh, okay, crazy.
Yeah.
And this movie, it was like 44 million because obviously they were like, oh, if he could do that with 15, right? Imagine what he could do with 3 times the budget.
What could he do with 40?
Right.
Right.
$3.5 million return. That's wow.
Yeah.
What was the issue?
So, I mean,
what was like the problem with this movie? I mean, because it sounds like you're saying that it had the same like abstract issues that people talk about with this movie, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it was bloated, yada yada. But like what?
Just I want to get one more thing on the record here.
Yeah.
So for $40 million in 1978. Oh, I can't even do the inflation calculator so $10 million in that amount of time is. Just to give you an idea.
Yeah.
10 million would be $47 million. So what would that be? $200 million dollars?
Yeah. I mean,
it's crazy.
And then like it was 44 or this one was 49
like back
box
then,
office.
The budget.
Was, yeah. Well, the box office for Deer Hunter was like closing on 25. That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean
or 250.
That should
Well,
just to give an idea of how big of a fucking movie that The Deer Hunter was. But and that's probably only the domestic. I don't know if that would be the domestic or, overall box office. Anyway. But so I think I've heard people say that Heaven's Gate is not as bad as people think it is. And that like it is actually a pretty good movie, but it does have the same kind of problems or like things that you could complain about with Deer Hunter, which is it's too long, it's bloated, it's meandering, whatever. I have not seen Heaven's Gate, but I've heard these things, and like it's like the biggest bomb. It like kind of completely tanked United Artists, which is like the the distribution company or like financing company that funded it. So it's a huge, a huge failure. And this director did not really do much else. I'm like looking at, he had like things in development all the time, but never really executed. Like he made a movie with Mickey Rourke called Year of the Dragon, which I've like never heard of. The Sicilian, these are all movies that I think don't really like exist. Like no one really knows what these are. So it's very interesting because if Heaven's Gate has the same stuff going on, like what difference does it make? But who knows?
Yeah, it would definitely be an interesting watch just to sort of compare and contrast and see how.
Someday for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. We talk about how like this movie is kind of forgotten to time. But like you still see references to it. You maybe hear about it every now and again. Like I still vaguely knew about
Definitely.
it. But like,
yeah,
that movie is like gone. So I sort of wonder what it's got behind its door, right? No?
It's like the punchline. Yeah. We'll have to go behind the gate sometime. Because it's kind of a punchline more than anything at this point. So I'm looking at the awards because I think that is it won Best Picture, Best Director, Best Editing, Best Actor for a Supporting Role for Christopher Walken, Best Sound. But it also it was nominated for Streep, De Niro, cinematography, screenplay, like all of those things, and that's just at the Oscars. I mean, setting aside like any of the others. So, this movie's a huge, Deer Hunter's a huge deal. I think this was one of the earliest De Niro, was he a winner at this point? I actually don't know. Jesus, I can't imagine what the list of awards and nominations page on Wikipedia would be for De Niro. So yeah. He won for Godfather 2, which was a few years before this one. I
was just reading more on the Heaven's Gate Wikipedia page. 44 million, the amount of money that they would have needed to make in order to break even, right, on whatever other fees they had.
Yeah.
Would have been 140 million, which
according to Wikipedia, 4 times.
In 2024 dollars, right, would be $500 million.
Yeah.
That's insane. Yeah. That's insane. I mean, no.
Yeah.
I mean, no movies nowadays gross that. I guess Nesha too.
They do all the time. Actually,
they do.
They really.
In the last
movies
10
make
years,
$500 million. Yeah,
well,
the big guys.
I read that it's going down.
Makes that more or less.
Yeah, I know. I read that it's been going down recently, and there was within the last year, I think there's only been 4 or 5, I think, and then in certain years there have been 9, and it's pretty usually around that.
It's
a lot of that has to do with just.
I mean, Barbie and Oppenheimer both made $2 billion or $1 billion and change.
Yeah,
not $2 billion.
Yeah, so
2 together.
I don't know. I'm not gonna. We don't have to get into the geopolitical fucking issues between the U.S. and America and how,
the U.S.
and America. Yeah, the U.S. and China and how the Chinese box office is not state controlled. I'm not saying their media is state controlled, but I'm saying that it definitely has a large influence upon how popular things become there, and they hold a huge sway of the market.
Sure.
I mean, Russia does as well, which also we've lost that. So I mean, I read something about that, which I'm quoting very poorly, and I'm not quoting, I'm misquoting very poorly.
No, I mean, Neja made
that.
The first one made $750 million, I want to say.
The second one has made a huge amount from what I've heard. It's really insane. Yeah.
Didn't it just come out? Am I trolling?
Yeah, I think it came out really recently. I was considering
$2 billion. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, that will probably be a Rick's pick at some point. Just FYI. I've been thinking about it. I don't know when to put it on.
Yeah. I was thinking about going to go see the sequel, just having no context at all. But so it's behind Titanic right now for unadjusted, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah. But so I mean, movies do make.
I know they still. I know they still do, and especially when the world economy is flowing very effectively.
But the thing is, those movies that are making $1 billion or $500 million, they are not dramas, more movies about the deer hunter. They're not movies. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's what makes it so crazy. Is the children's media, for lack of a better term, was not making that kind of money back then. So. It just shows how infantilized our culture is now that those movies are the ones that make that money. But so it goes. You couldn't make The Deer Hunter today.
We were just talking about how we could make The Deer Hunter today, but with Iraq.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
no, but you're right.
Well,
we couldn't.
Well, we couldn't though.
You couldn't though. Yeah.
There are no horrible hippies spitting on Iraq veterans back in America.
That's the thing. Also, I feel it's also there's a lot of I feel there's maybe better veteran assistance nowadays. So it doesn't you don't hear as many horror stories, or they're not as well publicized, right?
Sure.
I mean, I remember when I was a kid and like we were getting involved in Iraq, they would every day on the news. My mom was a big news person. They would have like the names of any soldiers that died like on screen for a portion of it, and they would say like, "Oh, like today we lost 6 lives. This month we've lost like 106, yada yada." And it was like a very solemn, very like every single day they had like a portion of time devoted to that, which I feel like is just like not the acknowledgement that like is received any longer. Like it was just a very particular like moment in time that like allowed those veterans to be maybe not treated well, but like treated better than many veterans have before, and maybe will be in the future. So
yeah. Interesting. Yeah. I'm glad we watched this. This was a good watch for this pod, I think.
Yeah, so it was a really good movie. I liked it a lot. And a good discussion, yeah. Fun to talk about.
One other war crime that we should mention is the mustard on the Twinkie. We
yeah, when he just dunks that shit, that's so crazy, bro.
Fucked up. I like an insane snack combo, but like
no.
Yeah.
You gotta cut it. No.
It's too much. Yeah. What's our Rick's pick next week?
Our Rick's pick is Empire of the Sun from 1987, directed by Steven Spielberg.
Oh, cool! Whoa, that's awesome! Wait, okay, cool. I've been wanting to watch this movie for a long time. Cool. Why'd you pick it? Just Spielberg? You're about to say something fucked up.
I am about to say something fucked up. So, I did not have a movie before we started potting today. We mentioned earlier
monster.
Tropic Thunder.
Oh my god! And they have the same.
Which I had pulled up the Wikipedia page for, and apparently, Stiller, Ben Stiller, had developed Tropic Thunder's premise during the production of Empire of the Sun.
He's in this movie, yeah.
Oh,
he was like 5 years old or whatever in this movie, but yeah.
And he was like, oh, like we should make a comedy movie like later, like so like that's
making fun of this.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's how I came across it.
A lot of war.
Yeah. Well, I read this.
A lot of war stuff lately.
I read the tagline "Epic Coming of Age War Film" by Steven Spielberg. I was like, yeah, fucking sounds good, man. Yeah, sign me up.
This is really interesting. Yeah, this will be interesting. I know basically nothing about this movie other than that Christian Bale and Ben Stiller and a couple other people are in it. So, yeah.
Okay.
Fun.
Well, yeah. I think it'll be a fun watch.
Yeah, this is one of the Spielbergs I have not seen. I've seen most of his movies, so this is cool. Blind spots. Love to fill blind spots.
Yeah.
It is kind of funny that we're watching this movie before E.T. Have you seen E.T.?
I have. Have you not?
I have not seen E.T.
That's crazy.
The Extraterrestrial.
I'd see the thing kids movies. That's my domain, bro. You know, that's when I watch movies as a kid. So.
Yeah, all of Spielberg's infantilized culture. You love that shit. Yeah.
I vaguely remember E.T. But yeah, that was a fun one.
Some people, I mean, Chris says it's the scariest that it scared him more than any other movie when he was a kid, was E.T. in that movie, like the way that E.T. looked. I was like, isn't E.T. supposed to be like friend of the child? Like, isn't...
Yeah, he is. I liked E.T. I thought he was cute.
Chris is different. He's built different.
He is built different.
I think he's fine.
Yeah.
He does look like a ball sack.
I liked him. Yeah, he does. Yeah. You know. I mean, when I was a kid, I was like, oh, like, you know, he looks like a ball sack. I got one of those. I was like, this is great, man, you know?
E.T. the extra testicle? Is that anything?
Oh, shit. Oh. That's something. Save it for the pod. Save it for when we record that app.
Save it for next week for when we... Oh, not for the Empire of the Sun episode.
No. I think maybe we keep that one in the oven for a little bit longer. We don't bust it out that quickly.
Fair. Okay. Bust. Pause. Okay. Cool. Next week, Empire of the Sun, 1987. Steven Spielberg. Have fun.
Oh, yeah?
God bless America?
Land that I love.
Yeah. Oh my god, 210? Fuck! Again?